Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching yet another edition of Breaking Views, the only show on primetime television where we get you all the views so that you get the complete picture. Two stories that we are tracking this evening. Of course, there'll be the story on Karnataka, the cut money iceberg, the tip of the cut money iceberg. Huge politics doing the rounds and contractors completely gherowing the government of Karnataka. The first story here is the inauguration of the Prime Minister's museum. The government says that we want to celebrate all our Prime Ministers. You know who else was there at this inaugural session? The son of former Prime Minister Neeraj Shekhar. He's put out a series of tweets acknowledging what this step means. What does it actually mean? Well, the answer, does it lie in the expression celebrating all Prime Ministers? We'll ask him this question. And of course, we'll be talking about Karnataka. After defiance of many days, the 40% cut money accused Karnataka minister has now finally said, okay, I will resign. Under pressure, under duress, he says, I will resign. But the Contractors Association and the opposition say, it's not just Mr. Ishwarappa. First of all, there is no case registered against him in corruption cases. This is an abetment to suicide case. So register a corruption case. And number two, what about the other departments? They've listed out a series of departments. The Contractors Association says that there is a special cut money for the CMO also. In a situation like this, is this just the tip of the cut money iceberg in Karnataka? But first, let me now introduce Mr. Neeraj Shekhar. Thank you very much, Mr. Shekhar, for joining us. I'm sure this will be a great and proud moment for you to see your father and former Prime Minister Chandrasekhar ji being celebrated, among others also. You know, the expression, Mr. Shekhar, that was used by the Prime Minister is that we will be celebrating all Prime Ministers. Do you think the stress really is on the word all?
नहीं, बिल्कुल मेरे को लगता है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा बिल्कुल उक्त कहा है. उसके लिए जो बिल्कुल ठीक है, संग्रहालय सबके लिए है. संकेत जी, मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा, मैं पूरी ज़िंदगी तीन मूर्ति के पास रहा हूँ और पिताजी के देहांत के बाद मैंने कभी ये नहीं सोचा था कि उस संग्रहालय में पिताजी का भी म्यूज़ियम बनेगा, वहाँ संग्रहालय बनेगा, ये मैंने कभी नहीं सोचा था. और मैं जानता हूँ कि जो पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री के और लोग भी होंगे, परिजन होंगे, वो भी नहीं कभी सोचा होगा कि वहाँ पर उनका एक संग्रहालय बनेगा. और मैंने खुद देखा आज संग्रहालय इतना बढ़िया और इतनी अच्छी तरह सबकी डिपिक्ट किया गया है जो वहाँ पर. तो मैं यही चाहूँगा, आपके माध्यम से मैं कहना चाहूँगा अपने नौजवान साथियों को कि वो जाके देखें वहाँ पर और जानें कि सारे पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी से लेकर आदरणीय मोदी जी तक कि किस तरह उन्होंने देश के लिए काम किया है. अलग अलग विचारधारा से आकर भी सब लोग का लक्ष्य एक ही था कि देश का विकास होना चाहिए, हमारा देश आगे चलना चाहिए.
Neeraj ji, you have had the privilege of going inside first, not like us lesser mortals who have not been able to access that museum just yet. What is your initial impression about the museum?
मेरे ख्याल से मैंने तो पहली बार मैं वही बता रहा हूँ, मैं ऐसा म्यूज़ियम देश में तो नहीं है. इतना इंटरैक्टिव, इतना बढ़िया, इतनी ज़्यादा डिपिक्ट. और ये सबसे बड़ी बात कि अगर उसमें और कुछ ऐड करना चाहें, सारे परिवार, सारे फॉर्मर पीएम्स के परिजन भी वहाँ थे, तो वो उनसे ये भी कहा गया कि अगर आप कुछ और ऐड करना चाहें, आप कुछ देना चाहें आर्टिफैक्ट उनके, तो भी ऐड किया जाएगा. जो वर्चुअल है, जैसे आप उनसे बात करने का, उनके साथ फ़ोटो खिंचाने का, तो जो लोग मिले नहीं हैं उन लोग से, वो उनके साथ फ़ोटो खिंचाना, उनके साथ बात करना, और जिस तरह डिपिक्ट किया गया, जो मैंने जो देखा, सबसे बड़ी बात मेरे लिए जो पिताजी की पदयात्रा थी जो उन्होंने 1983 में की थी कन्याकुमारी से दिल्ली तक, उसको जिस तरह डिपिक्ट किया गया वहाँ पर, मैं तो चाहूँगा जो सार्वजनिक जीवन में आते हैं, राजनीति में जो लोग आ रहे हैं, उनको देखना चाहिए वहाँ जाकर कि किस तरह राजनीति में आने से पहले अपने देश को जानना बहुत ज़रूरी है और पदयात्रा उसके लिए सबसे बड़ा माध्यम है.
Neeraj ji, now I want to talk about this tweet of yours where you tweeted out certain pictures of Narendra Modi with the former Prime Minister. would you like to tell us about this equation? Because you have gone in great detail in your tweets, but would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
ये आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने खुद पहले कहा हुआ है। एक बार हरिवंश जी जो हमारे वाइस चेयरमैन हैं राज्यसभा के, उनकी एक किताब थी, उसका जब विमोचन किया था उन्होंने सारी कहानियां सुनाई थी। लेकिन जो पिताजी जब इमरजेंसी के बाद सब लोग साथ काम कर रहे हैं, आप जानते हैं सारी पार्टियां एक साथ थी, तो उस समय से लगातार पिताजी के कांटेक्ट में रहे और उस समय ज़्यादातर जनता पार्टी के टाइम में उनके साथ थे। और सबसे बड़ी बात मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा, जब पिताजी की तबीयत खराब हो गई थी 2005-06 में, तो उन्होंने एक इच्छा व्यक्त की और अपने साथ जो लोग थे उनसे कहा कि मोदी जी उस समय सीएम थे गुजरात के, उनसे कहा कि उनसे बोलो कि मैं मिलना चाहता हूँ। मैं आपको 1-2 दिन में ही मोदी जी ने दिल्ली में आकर उनसे मुलाकात की। जो फ़ोटो मैंने लगाई है उसी समय की है। पिताजी की तबीयत उस समय कैंसर से वो पीड़ित थे और तबीयत खराब थी, और 2 दिन के अंदर मोदी जी वहाँ आए, उनसे मिले और कई चीज़ों पे चर्चा हुई। हम लोग कमरे में नहीं थे, लेकिन जो बाद में पिताजी ने बताया और उसके बाद मोदी जी ने भी हम लोग को बताया, तो मुझे इससे लगा कि जो श्रद्धा थी मोदी जी की, उस समय आए और उनसे मिले एक बार कहने पर, तो जो सारी चीज़ें थी और उनके साथ काम किया। जब अभी राजनीति में नए थे मोदी जी, तो उनके साथ भी 77-78 में जो काम किया था वो उनको याद था। उस समय पिताजी जनता पार्टी के अध्यक्ष थे, तो उनके साथ काम करने का मौका मिला, वो उन्होंने बताया था, उसी को मैंने उसमें ट्वीट में डाला।
एक सवाल अब मैं आपसे जाते जाते नीरज जी पूछना चाहता हूं, एंड दिस इज pertaining to the animosity that exists around the contributions of former prime ministers. आपको लगता है इस तरीके के संग्रहालय से एक माहौल इस तरीके का बन सकता है where arguments like सब नेहरू की गलती है can be stopped? Basically we build an atmosphere where we celebrate the contributions of all prime ministers instead of blaming them.
अगर आपने प्रधानमंत्री जी का भाषण सुना होगा, उन्होंने भाषण में भी आज उनके कहा और उन्होंने लाल किले से भी बोला है कि वो मानते हैं कि इस देश को यहाँ तक लाने में हर एक पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री का योगदान है, हर एक पार्टी का योगदान है। और व्यक्तिगत रूप से मैं मानता हूँ कोई भी प्रधानमंत्री देश के खिलाफ काम नहीं करना चाहता, वो देश के लिए काम करना चाहता है, देश को उन्नति करना चाहता है, उसको विकास के मार्ग पे ले जाना चाहता है। अलग अलग तरीके हो सकते हैं, लोग अलग अलग सोच हो सकती है, लेकिन लक्ष्य सबका एक ही है कि इस देश का विकास होना चाहिए। हम लोग के जो गरीब लोग हैं उनको हम लोग का जीवन का स्तर ऊपर उठाएं, यही सबका लक्ष्य है। और मुझे लगता है आपने जो कहा बिल्कुल सही कहा, ऐसे म्यूजियम से जहां आप सबके जो विचार थे उनको बताएंगे अगर अपने नौजवानों को, तो मुझे लगता है ये जो एक दुराव हो रहा है वो दुराव खत्म होगा।
Neeraj Shekhar ji, thank you so much for taking out time. Thank you so much, and I promise you we'll all go visit the museum because it looks fantastic. Thank you very much. Let's now move on to our second story that we have been tracking relentlessly right here on NDTV, and that is Mr. 40% cut money. Minister who has been accused of taking 40% cut money has now resigned. After Defiance, party has forced Mr. Ishwarappa to step down. There is absolutely no doubt about this. This is not his own decision. The party forced him to, because he was defiant all this while. There were allegations which were hurting the BJP's anti-corruption image, because the Congress mounted a political campaign against Mr. Ishwarappa. FIR names the Karnataka minister for abetting the contractor suicide. But the story is not over with his resignation, because so far no corruption FIR has been filed against Ishwarappa. What was the original allegation? Corruption. There is no FIR. Is this a case of BJP's belated damage control? Because now contractors are saying, what about allegations of cut money in other departments? Forget just this one department, not just Mr. Ishwarappa. What about the allegations of other departments? And let's now get you an exclusive interview with the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Mr. Bommai. We asked him these questions. Our colleague Shrija asked him this question on what really is the reason or the compulsion. This interview was recorded in the afternoon, where we asked him this question: why is he not resigning, and what about the allegations of corruption? Listen in.
with regard to your own sitting minister, with regard to the allegations, will there be anything, will you all be taking a decision on that of sacking him?
See, now yesterday the post-mortem is over. There is a preliminary inquiry is going on. Let the preliminary inquiry begin, and depending on the preliminary inquiry, other things will follow.
Are you getting any pressure from the High Command, from the Delhi?
No. I'm not under any pressure.
No pressure from Delhi?
And there is nothing to do with High Command.
Okay.
It is all purely on the investigation and preliminary investigation. Call will be taken.
So, without any interference, don't you think it's a must to actually, at this point in time, to remove Mr. Ishwarappa so that there's no interference?
See, what you think or I think is not important. What is the fact of the case is important.
I would like to introduce our guests this evening. We've got Tanvir Ahmed, National Spokesperson of the JDS, PKD Nambiar, BJP supporter, and Professor Gaurav Vallabh is also with us. Thank you, all of you all. Mr. PKD Nambiar, I'll begin with you first. Fine, under pressure, under duress, after much cajoling, coaxing, the minister of your government in Karnataka, Mr. Ishwarappa, the very tall BJP leader Ishwarappa, after open defiance, has today kindly agreed to resign, and he will do that tomorrow. But the point is, Mr. Nambiar, that even now, there is no corruption case against him. There is no FIR, which was the basic reason why Santosh Patil died by suicide. Corruption. Is this some sort of an escape mechanism where you are helping Mr. Ishwarappa to wriggle out?
I think, Sanketji, the first part is that you said that the BJP is a party with a difference and zero tolerance to corruption. I think this is what
I said there was this image of the Prime Minister where he kept saying, na khaunga, na khane dunga. Will that take a big beating?
At least in the last 8 years or in the 20 years of the Prime Minister's public life, we all have seen that he means to completely, and he has proven that in the last 20 years in his public life that na khate hai, na khane dete hai. I think one thing which is very clear in Karnataka during the Congress government, KG George, the former Home Minister of Karnataka, had to resign after 2 months. It took. It is not even 4 days. The minister has taken a decision to quit or resign. That clearly says that
may I come in?
is truly.
You
truly
see,
a
no,
party
one
with a-
moment. You've been harping, in an earlier broadcast also on a sister channel, you said, look how fast and swiftly that the BJP has acted, that the government has acted, not waited, not batted an eyelid. The point is, had you acted swiftly on the repeated complaints and letters of Santosh Patil, he would not have been dead. He died because nobody was listening to him.
May I?
Yes.
So the idea is that an allegation, anybody can throw an allegation to each other. I can put an allegation to Gaurav ji or Sanket ji or anybody at any point of time. There may be a due process for any kind of an allegation. There are doubts. In fact, there were a couple of information which was in the public domain in the last 3-4 days that is that only purely because of this 40% so-called, you have even declared that Mr. 40%. If tomorrow, if the same Ishwarappa turn out to be, after an inquiry, there was no 40%. Even the Ishwarappa, he was till yesterday.
No, by the way, because you have alleged, let me just tell you.
I am only saying corruption is not acceptable. Whomsoever is doing it, whether it is an Ishwarappa or a BJP government or Congress government, it doesn't matter.
This word has been given to you. This title has been given to you by the Congress party, not NDTV. Okay.
But I think unfortunately, you also have been stressing on.
If you look at the screen, this is in quotes. It's being attributed. You can't fault me on the tools of journalism, Mr. Nambiar. We are attributing this comment from where it belongs. Okay, Professor Gaurav Vallabh, you see the point is that so far, under great pressure, Mr. Ishwarappa has offered to resign. He will resign tomorrow. But so far, no FIR in the corruption charges and no probe right now as of this moment on all the allegations that have been made by the Contractors Association. In fact, as you were telling me earlier, Contractors Association members have gone on to allege that the cut money goes right up to the Chief Minister's office.
Sanket, my first point is that, कि कल का कोई मुहूर्त है क्या? चोर चोरी कर रहा और उसको पकड़ने का भी मुहूर्त होता है क्या? I don't think, Sanket, we have this type of mechanism that I will resign tomorrow as if he is doing some great service to the country. He is a 40% commission guy who had who because of him one BJP karyakarta committed suicide. Now the BJP new slogan is खूब खाऊंगा और अपने कार्यकर्ताओं को मरने दूंगा. We had 2-3 fundamental questions. Ishwarappa's belated resignation is too little too late, and we demand, number one, that FIR should be registered under the Prevention of Corruption Act so that he should be immediately arrested. He is not doing favor to the nation that I will resign tomorrow as if I am taking oath tomorrow. You are a culprit. Because of you, because of your 40% cut, your own worker is committing suicide. You are not ashamed of yourself, Ishwarappa. You should resign immediately, and Karnataka CM should arrest him immediately under the Prevention of Corruption Act. Number 1 point. Number 2 point, Sanket, this is not my statement. Karnataka had a rate card that if you want PWD work, 43%, if you want Panchayati Raj work, 44%, and above all, there is a 5% special cut which directly goes to the Chief Minister's office. And this is not what Congress party is saying. This is what was alleged by the President of the Contractors Association of Karnataka. And they are giving all the proofs. If the Chief Minister is having a contrary evidence to this, why he is not filing a defamatory case against the President of the Karnataka Contractors Association? We demand that the High Court monitored SIT must investigate the
Okay,
Chief
High Court
Minister's
monitored
office
SIT, says the Congress party. But the point is, this
should
question will be asked of you,
investigate
Mr.
the Chief
Nambiar,
Minister's office.
that why is it that on allegations of corruption, we still do not have neither an FIR nor an investigation? Mr. Tanvir Ahmed, do you also demand the same? That if the original complaint was of 40% cut and he is an accused named in a suicide note of demanding that 40% cut money, he and his associates, then the least that is expected is an FIR probing the corruption allegations. The FIR right now is only in the abetment to suicide case. And also, what about the other cases, other departments?
Sanket, I think we all need to really understand what is happening here in Karnataka. It is not only Ishwarappa's case. Corruption is absolutely rampant in every department. And we all need to really understand why is this 4 days of drama which Mr. Ishwarappa took to resign. This is not something which we need to really just wishy-wash, because Ishwarappa is a very, very powerful man. He was the Deputy Chief Minister. He understands how the system works. He was absolutely, for last 4 days, he was trying to remove all the evidences. 4 days working in the department. See, I come from political background. I was an advisor to the former Chief Minister. I really understand how it works. For last 4 days, Mr. Ishwarappa was not doing a favor, not shouting and screaming. He was scared and he was doing every single possible thing within his power as the Panchayat Raj Minister to remove all the evidences. This is just Mr. Kempanna, who is the Contractors Association President, had clearly said that
No, so what is your allegation?
department-
Come on, this is very serious. You are saying that Mr. Ishwarappa, before resigning, has destroyed evidence in his own department.
Sanket, how things work in the department. First, before giving a contract, there is a procedure. So they were trying to remove all the procedures from the system, of the system, signatories, so that tomorrow it will come that this man who died was
No,
an
but then
idiot.
this will appear to be a wild political allegation. Would you have, I mean, is this what you believe must have happened, or do you have proof to substantiate?
Sanket, actually, journalists like you who are sitting outside the system really think that, a minister is somebody who can't really, they can really change a lot of things. This is exactly what Mr. Ishwarappa was given. 4 days time, that do this and then
Okay,
come
so
back.
you are
This is
saying
exactly
he's used the
what
4 days time to tamper with the evidence, destroy evidence so that nothing Nothing ever gets proven.
More
PKD
than Ishwarappa, all the
all the
officers
ministers
in his
okay.
department, all the officers
PKD
in his department should be taken into.
Don't you think that it becomes extremely important for the sake of your image, the image of the party you support, that you carry out an independent probe and very quickly?
It's the problem of the kind of sunglasses the Congress and the JDS and the opposition party is wearing. They look at everything and they will see only in that direction.
He's just a supporter. He's not the spokesperson of a party. He doesn't understand politics. I don't think, you need to get somebody serious. You need to get a BJP spokesperson to speak about BJP. What does PKD know about BJP? Does he know anything about the system? He's not even an official spokesperson.
Let him answer.
You can't really have a person
Let him answer,
who's just a supporter. What do you mean a supporter?
I have been invited.
There are about a million supporters sitting.
Who are you? Who are you, Tanvir Ahmed? You invited me to this show?
No, Mr. Tanvir, in all fairness, let me intervene here. Let me intervene. Mr. Tanvir, we have invited him to present the views of the BJP and he's doing it in whatever capacity he holds. His opinion matters over here. Everybody's view matters, please. Yes.
From street to represent BJP.
I think we're digressing. Let's listen into what he has to say, Mr. Tanvir. You can talk about his credentials later. PKD Nambiar.
So let me tell you one thing, that I don't generally get into the people who don't matter either in politics or in public life at all. I do matter, and that is the
let's
reason
stick to the subject.
So
please.
let me tell you the people like
stick to the subject, please.
Today.
Nobody.
Sanket, just let me tell you. Today, for an example, when the Congress chief of Karnataka is the person who is out on a bail, who just came out of the jail for a money laundering and the corruption cases, and you are talking and putting up all the blame on BJP or for that matter to any party. If there was a corruption charges, if there was some kind of an issue, what is you expect from the government? The government should take file an FIR. The government should take an action. If the minister is somewhere feeling, even if it is in public life, anybody who has got an iota of doubt on them, they should quit. I am for that. And if that minister has decided to quit, rather than uploading the party,
what applaud? That's exactly the point. What applaud? You're asking me, you're selling a resignation as some paragon of virtue. Mr. Nambiar, this resignation has come after 2 to 3 days of defiance. This resignation still does not answer the basic question, what about the corruption FIR? And also an independent probe on the various charges, the allegations of the Contractors Association, who, by the way, should ideally be subservient to your government. But they are up in arms.
In the 70 years of India's post-independence, various governments across the country, tell me how many instances on an allegation in the second moment, how many instances the ministers have resigned?
We've answered this in the past also. The point is,
I'm just telling you how many.
The allegation of corruption, the allegation of corruption was there for over a month.
Sanket, may I?
The party
allegation, I've run out of time, but the point is, let us not sell this as some great quick decision that the BJP has taken. The allegation of corruption was there in the public domain. Each and every one in the BJP was informed about it. And because no action happened is why Santosh Patil had to die by suicide. So this is action which is late. Let's be very clear about that. Thank you very much for joining us on this discussion. News continues on the other side. Stay with us.